I was appointed chair 18 months ago. This incident in the Haiti story broke in the first 3 months of my time as chair. I regarded it as my duty and responsibility to stay with Oxfam and to try and help sort it out. And so that's why I'm sitting here today.
Okay, well, but more then in terms of your personal reaction, given that what's been described here over a long period of time, and perhaps not just in Haiti, is a kind of sex for aid operation, are you ashamed of that?
I'm thoroughly ashamed of it, and I want to say sorry. I want to apologise to the people of Haiti, to the people who were affected and the survivors of that behaviour, but also to our donors and supporters in Britain, because we let them down. We let down everyone in those circumstances. It was a shameful incident and it should never have been allowed to happen, and it should have been stopped earlier than it was.
So presumably you accept then from the Charity Commission this official warning, you feel it is deserved?
Yeah, the Charity Commission have done 18 months of exhaustive inquiry into Oxfam. We cooperated with it fully and we accept all its recommendations. It makes for really uncomfortable reading for us, but it's possibly the better for that, because I think we deserve, having been made to feel uncomfortable, we deserve some tough judgments, and we are going to follow them and learn from them.
But you didn't initially, I mean that's in the report as well, isn't it, that it's taken Oxfam a while to respond. They were still unhappy with Oxfam's response up to 2017. Now you say it's all going to change and improve and can never happen again, but can we believe you, given that Oxfam didn't seem to have acted quickly enough in the first instance?
It's true that post-Haiti we didn't go far enough, fast enough in our investment in safeguarding. I think the people then felt that they were doing more, and they were already investing more money. But the truth is it wasn't enough, and I think people didn't really understand the full depth of the problem of safeguarding, the cultural problem that you had within Oxfam. There was a very fundamental problem here which needed more fundamental measures to treat it. We are now doing that. We've tripled the amount of money we're spending on safeguarding. We've got 100 investigators trained, based in every country which we work in around the world. We've put every single member of staff through online safeguarding training. We are beginning to make the moves now at the sort of level and scale which I think will make a difference. But unfortunately that wasn't done earlier.
But where are you, okay, taking that on board, where are you then in this process that the Charity Commission describes, so that you need further cultural and systemic change? Are you saying that actually has occurred, or
no,
you've still got some way to go?
We've still got some way to go. It's cultural, and they are right to say we need cultural and systemic change. That is a very difficult thing to deliver. It means putting a good solid foundation there, and so implementing the recommendations. They've made 79 recommendations. We've already implemented well over 2/3 of them. That will help give us the foundation and the base from which to change. But the real change we need to make, and why I'm particularly pleased that we've put so many members of staff through safeguarding training, is we need to stop a culture which feels that somehow safeguarding is something that's done by directors of safeguarding, that safeguarding is something that's for investigation, and understand that it's about creating the right culture and environment in which people can work, and it's the responsibility of every person who works in Oxfam, whether they're a trustee or a receptionist or an aid worker out in the field. Everyone needs to be working to create the right environment of transparency, of safety. Safety is not just about stopping these things occurring, but crucially about creating an environment where people feel they can report them.
It's a huge bureaucratic operation then, isn't it? You mentioned the huge number of extra staff you're going to have to recruit to oversee this. And ultimately that means, with a shrinking pot, I know, that less money is going to go on aid then.
It does require more money, and I think one of the things we need to do, and we already started doing, is having conversations with donors, particularly with institutional donors, about how we make sure that we have enough funds from the money they give them to ensure that we work in the right sort of safe environment and can deliver the safety that everyone is requires.
But as a proportion of, well, I don't know what it is, as a proportion of the funds you get in and how much is spent on the front line, which is what all donors want to see in all charities, isn't it? As much as possible where it's going to be most effective. Some of that has to be diverted then now, does it not?
We have a target of only spending 10% of our income on overheads and on administration. It may be that that has to extend to 11 or 12% in order to encourage and make sure that we deliver on this. I think everyone would agree that that would be money really well spent, because creating the safe environment for our beneficiaries and for our staff is really absolutely crucial.
And what are your concerns about the fact that Haiti may not be a lone incident? There's already been discussion about Oxfam and similar types of activities in Chad. Now, given the scores, one imagines that the hundreds of countries that Oxfam has operated in over the decades, you've got a huge investigative task, haven't you?
We've just trained the 100 investigators who are out there in all our countries where we're operating in order to try to make sure that we understand what is happening. I cannot sit here and promise that these sort of incidents will never occur in the future, because we operate in some of the most dangerous territories in the world. They are lawless areas. We have aid workers at the moment risking their lives helping Ebola sufferers in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We have people being bombed every night in Yemen. These are very tricky areas, and it is very difficult to absolutely be sure every time what is happening there. What we need to do is to create the right culture which makes such activities, such as sexual abuse, unthinkable or less thinkable, and a culture as well where people feel safe to report it. And that's crucial, and that's terribly difficult in the field. And then a culture where once it's reported, we properly investigate and we properly hold people to account, and people lose their jobs over it.
Okay, lastly, the issue of donations. What would you say to those people saying, why should I donate to Oxfam after all this, all we've heard over the last 18 months and now this report? Why should I give this charity my money?
I would say that this report is an illustration of how Oxfam is changing, and that we have cooperated fully with it. It has taken 18 months. We are opening up Oxfam in a process of transparency to the absolute rigorous and very painful light of day, so we can understand what went wrong and how we can put it right. So this is part of the healing and rebuilding process. What I would ask them to do is to judge us on how we rebuild, how we respond in the next 6 months to the Charity Commission requirements, and then how we respond beyond that for the next 2 or 3 years in really making Oxfam a place fit for the middle of the 21st century.
And also in terms of donations, the government that's talked about Oxfam and it's failing to meet those high standards. Would you say to the government now that its money would be well spent with Oxfam?
I would hope that the government would shortly have confidence that they could give us money again. We are pleased that USAID, the Americans, have restored funding, as have the Swedes, the Swedish Development Agency. We've obviously got a big issue in Britain about restoring trust, because we are a British institution. So I completely understand that for the government the decision may take some time, but I would hope that this is, as I say, the first step on the way to getting back to our normal relations with the British government and British government funding.